Don't worry. Don't believe the rumors out there by the paparazzi. Okay, Ahmed Fareed's not in drug rehab for his energy drink addiction. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. He'll be back soon. Yo, what's up? It's Chris Sims. It's Chris Sims Unbuttoned. And yes, he's alive. He's here. My friend. He's back. Ahmed Fareed in the house once again. What's up, man? You were missed. I don't even know how to do this show without you.
Well, that's not true.
You complete me, okay?
Well, yeah,
you complete me.
True.
Oh, that is true. I mean, this hosting thing ain't for me, all right? I like to talk about football, not have to answer the questions and talk football and do it all. Welcome to Chris Sims Unbuttoned, presented by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. I mean, it's been too long.
It's been too long.
But I'm glad you're back, man. I'm glad everything's good. I'm glad that you got out of rehab. They let you all go for the addictions and everything.
I was in rehab, and now I'm drinking water from
now you're drinking water.
No, it was I miss being away.
Yep.
I've never been away from work that long before. But it was a health scare with the family.
Yeah, you had some issues. You had to deal with.
It was my wife, and she was in the hospital for a little bit, but she's doing great right now.
Good.
And everything is like as normal as it can be. We're basically almost normal right here, which is amazing.
Right.
How scared I was just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
I can see it. You're still emotionally tired from it all. I can definitely see that from you.
It was tough.
And
it was tough.
You're like the biggest company man I've ever met in my
really
life.
am.
So for you not to be here, I was literally like, did he lose his leg?
Yeah.
Is his arm still attached? I know that. So good to have you back, man.
It's good to be
back.
back.
We'll jump you right back in here and start making fun of you and talking shit about the Lions right off the bat and get the blood flowing, all right?
Yeah, talk about fourth down decisions from Dan Campbell. That's what I want to jump right back into. It was awesome watching you and Devin too, and I was like, man, where'd they get this guy? I was like, this guy's pretty good. Knows more about defense than I do. Knows more about offense than I do. I wear more red than he does. I do feel like I probably wear more red than he does. So that's what I have on him. But it was one of those things where you think you're pretty invaluable to the company, right? I don't know that I can be replaced. I was replaced pretty easily. It was pretty quickly all across the board.
It wasn't that easy.
No, good to be back. Good to be back in the chair. We'll see if there's any rust here.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to get the rust off
in
the
judge
first
you.
segment.
And I mean, if it's rusty, then we might fire you and say, you're right, we don't need you here at NBC.
We'll be back for segments 2 and 3. Of course, we make the promise to the homies each and every Sunday that we will talk about every game, even the games that happen on other days, which there are multiple
feels like
days.
It was like last week when Pete was like, we're going to hit the Christmas Day games. I was like, wait, is that the same week of the schedule here?
No, until last year. So we got Lowe's home team help. Give me the headlines. Thursday recap, Monday preview, Wednesday recap, whatever the games happen. But we'll start with today.
Yeah.
And it was the game of the day that I was watching as a Lions fan intently, and I thought, those Green Bay Packers, they might make a game of this right at the end, and they really did. Trying to come back. Could not get over the top, though. The Vikings get the win. They beat the Packers 27-25. So Minnesota now currently is the 1 seed, technically, before that Monday game.
Right.
So that Detroit Lions-Minnesota Vikings game, last game of the season, will determine who's the 1 seed and who is the 5 seed. How crazy is that?
It is crazy.
Before we get to that, let's give the Vikings their props.
Right.
Because they have done it again, week in and week out, against the odds. People think they're smoke and mirrors. This is not smoke and mirrors. They just beat another good team.
No, you're right about that. Really, I mean, I think the score is almost misleading. I know Green Bay came back and made a frenzied comeback, and it looked really good, but it was more. Again, I don't want to say it felt like Minnesota controlled the better part of the football game. I don't think you would disagree with that. And then got a lead at the end of the football game where, you're not going to be aggressive on both sides of the ball to the same extent when the game was in the balance early on. You start to protect that lead. You start trying to bleed the clock. And Green Bay did a good job and certainly made some plays on both sides of the ball to give themselves a chance to maybe win it at the end of the football game. But the big thing is like what you said. I said this last week in Football Night in America. It was like, are they the most talked about, disrespected 13-2 team in the history of football? And I think it's like fair to say it. I don't think it's crazy. I mean, here they are at 14-2. What they're doing, we still, even sitting here, I would say most people still don't go, they're a legit Super Bowl contender or any of that. And I would say up until about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was one that was still kind of questioning it. I don't think I'm questioning it right now with what I've seen on both sides of the ball the last few weeks. I mean, the first thing is just the way Sam Darnold is playing, right? There's like three things that jump off to me about Minnesota's offense. Certainly Sam Darnold and his play, which we know he went through that little lull right in the middle part of the year, and we came on here and I broke him down. I was like, hey, he's holding the ball too long. He's staying on the first receiver too long. He's too Justin Jefferson dependent. Well, that's not a thing anymore. Everybody's getting the ball. Addison, Naylor, Hawkinson, whatever, and they're all making big plays, right? So there's no like, oh, I only like to throw to Justin Jefferson. The second thing is, the cast of characters they have all come alive here. It's 4 legitimate options I just said right there. I mean, to have Jalen Naylor be really your 4th option is like, damn, you're a pretty good football team when Jalen Naylor's your 4th guy, right? And then the guy that we've spent time talking about in the past and in the offseason, I know we broke him down a lot, is Kevin O'Connell, and just being one of the best offensive minds in football. And who can draw up more guys getting open 15, 20, 25 yards down the middle of the field more than Kevin O'Connell? I mean, it's incredible when you really look at it. I mean, every game it seems like they hit those deep in cuts, those deep crosses, the post down the middle. And we saw that again today. And the big thing is they're not wasting any of them. When they're open, Sammy the Savior, he is hitting it and taking full advantage of everything that's there to be had on that offense right
377 yards for him. I think that's a career high.
I think it is. It is a career high. Yep.
3 touchdowns. Yeah, you had one to Naylor, one to Addison. Jefferson had the most yards, most receptions. Didn't have a touchdown, though.
Right.
So that just shows how he's been spreading it around.
Exactly.
And I give Kevin O'Connell a lot of credit, too, because end of the game, 2 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Minnesota needs a couple first downs. They threw the ball 3 out of the 4 times.
Well, this is guts. Kind of like, but smart guts, right? Hey, they're going to run the clock out. What's a good way I can get one cheap play just to start it? Let me fake the run a little boot. Oh, maybe we get the first down, but maybe we make it second and short to get the first down. So that was the first play of going like, oh, you think we're going to run and just like you're going to make you use your timeout here? No, we're going to put a little more stress on this situation. And then, of course, really the same exact play the other way to end the game. 3rd and short, right? It was 3rd and 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, 2.
He fakes the run to the left. He boots back to the right side and throws the ball where he kind of alligator arms it to Cam Akers, but he gets it. But nonetheless, kind of like, again, this is where he's awesome. His psychology is like, you think I'm going to do this. I know you think I'm going to do this, so I'm going to do something off of it. And his genius on that side of the ball, what he does there. And the other point, too, that I didn't even make when I was kind of rattling off their positives, when the way they throw, as aggressive as they throw, and I said this a little on halftime of Football Night in America tonight, is their pass protection. I mean, again, they can protect. They can sit back there against a 4-man rush. And Green Bay, who's I know doesn't have a top-tier pass rusher, but can do it with their whole group of guys and are pretty good at pressuring the quarterback. When they rushed 4 today, they couldn't get by Sam Darnold. That's one of the positives they have. It's one of the things to watch out in the matchup against the Lions next week. Yeah. It's because we know you guys have pass rush problems, and you're going to be a little bit like, oh, we can't just rush 4 because he'll have all day. But that's the bind they put you in with their offense right now.
I will say at the end of the game, too, and I hate to be like hindsight guy, but I always think this, too. Like the Green Bay Packers, there you go. You cut the deficit to 2 points, and you got the decision whether to kick deep or try an onside kick. Right. And I know the numbers for an onside kick are not good, right? It's just like very rarely is recovered.
Yeah.
But in those situations, I'm like, if you give up 1 first down anyway, you're screwed.
The game's over. No matter, I hear you what you're saying.
So who cares? And even if they do kick a field goal there, it's still a touchdown wins it for you.
Yeah.
Like some of those times, I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's a 10% chance to get the onside kick, maybe a 5% chance, but sometimes I'm like, why not just go for it? Because if you give up a first down, game's over.
The game's
anyway.
trying to. I hear what you're saying there. I hear what I think there's probably 2 things that go into his thought there. One, they had made 2 stops in a row on defense, so he's a little bit like, hey, we're vibing right now, and they kind of got in conservative mode, and I think they're out of rhythm.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and this is what we got to talk about with Green Bay because it's the big thing, is I think a little bit of a like, man, is Jordan Love going to be able to drive us down the whole field to score a touchdown?
Oh, yeah.
Or make those plays? To me, that's still the biggest question about Green Bay. I'm a big Jordan Love fan. I like his potential, what he is, how he handles himself. But I'd be sitting here lying to all the homies out there and anybody that listens to what we do if I sat here and told you I was just absolutely thrilled and amazed with what Jordan Love's doing on the offensive side of the ball. We've been saying this all year. They've been winning with him playing B- football. Now, it got better here as of late. Right? Put up some big points against the Lions in a losing effort. So you went, right? But they got down early and then they had to come back. They blew out the Seahawks. right? They blew out the Saints, and I think everybody, including me, was like, oh, maybe he's turning the corner. And then it also sounded like LaFleur's trying to talk it into existence. If you read his weekly press conferences, he's trying to say, oh, it's the best he's ever played, and he's being so smart with the ball. And I want to be like, nah, he's not playing as good as he was last year. I'm sorry. You can say all you want. Yeah. He's been taking care of the ball lately. That's one thing we'll give him. But today, again, early in the game, why they were down early is missed opportunities in the pass game. That is definitely one of the big things that's holding them back. He has just not been the machine that were accustomed to seeing at the end of last year, with open receivers, big plays, and taking care of the ball all year long. Now, yeah, I know he took care of the ball well today. He did all that. But there were still a handful of throws where I go, come on, Jordan Love, you're too good to miss that throw or make it so hard on the receiver to catch the ball. Right? He had the big fourth down. Do you remember early on in the football game, he threw a slant to Jaden Reed over the middle?
Yeah.
Like, Jaden Reed should have caught it. The receiver's going to tell him that tomorrow. But the quarterback coach is also going to go, why did you throw it so hard? And you made it as hard as possible on him. He had to go low, like a foot off the ground, and he threw it 100 miles per hour. And that's my point. There's just a little too much of that. It's not been as smooth, and I think a lot of it is he's young, and of course he had a bunch of weeks dealing with that injury and not practicing and all of that, and that's just not led him to being his best. But I was disappointed with that. And but within that puts too much pressure on that run game with Josh Jacobs. And then when they get down, they can't continue to stay with Josh Jacobs, of course, because they got to start pushing the envelope and throwing the football. And that's where Minnesota's dangerous. When you're down, Flores then starts to call defenses where he goes, well, I know you're going to lean on the pass, and now I can really mess with you in the coverage and all that.
And I believe they played more man this game than they have in the past. I think I saw that somewhere. So maybe they threw a little curveball to Jordan Love
I would think they did today, and maybe without Watson, they felt better that.
Packers have a little bit of a weapons problem there, right? Because no Watson.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened to Jaden Reed because he has kind of fallen off. Just one catch for 6 yards in this game.
Yeah.
And so they do have a little bit of an issue there. Coming into this game, and now the Packers, are 0-5 this season versus teams who have 12 or more wins, which makes sense. But in the playoffs, guess what? Those teams
they're all going to be
often have 12 wins or around that. I would have said coming into this game, I think the Packers are going to be the more dangerous team going into the playoffs.
Right.
After this game, I don't know how you can't say it's the Minnesota Vikings.
I agree. This was the test to go, wait, Jordan Love's look better. Is now the day he's going to play his best football, and we're going to go, watch out for the Green Bay. And that's kind of the way I felt like what might happen today. And, of course, I'm in love with Green Bay's talent, and I know there's a lot of people out there like that. But Minnesota continues to pass the tests and answer the questions. And at some point you have to go, wait, I have to stop wishing or hoping or thinking and start going with the team that's doing, producing, and showing me every week. And that's the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm excited for that matchup next week. And sounds like there's a good chance we might be on the road in Detroit. Football Night in America, Lions, Vikings. Boom.
I'll jump in your bag with you.
I'll let you know. If Dan Campbell has any bad fourth down calls, I'll call you from there and let you know.
I'm sure you will. Nuevo Huevo says, welcome back, Ahmed. How crazy is it that a Lions win tomorrow means either Detroit or Minnesota could be a 14-win wild card team?
It's insane. It's insane. It speaks to, hey, the year is a top-heavy year in the NFL. And it's I don't ever remember it quite to this extent. It reminds me of the old NFC East days when we were growing up, right?
Sure.
Or you add in like the 49ers to the mix there, where there was years where, hey, the Giants were 12-4, Washington was 12-4, and like, but the 49ers are 13-3, and they got home field advantage, right? Yeah. Just where you were like, man, there is some good football teams, and I can't believe this team is this good, is going on the road in a wild card game. And that's what's crazy. One of the things I'm really excited about with the wild card this year, not only that we'll have great teams on the road, right, in both conferences, I also think, like, we're going to have a bunch of teams that looks like that really might not have nothing to play for next week, so they're going to be fresh in the wild card game too. That's going to be one of the bad things about the Vikings-Lions matchup. Whoever loses, of course, is just going to go through this really hard, physical, desperate game, right, and now have to go on the road and most likely going to play a team that went, we got to take the week off. We didn't do anything. And that's just about everybody other than Tampa and Atlanta, right? Whoever wins the NFC South. They're going to have to play next week, those two teams. But the Rams, if Washington wins tonight, they don't have to worry about anything. It's a bye week for them, right? So you worry about Eagles, already the 2 seed. Boom. Whoever wins your game, 1 seed at home, bye week. So really, that's the only one you look at, and that kind of holds true in both conferences to a degree, which is interesting.
It would probably be like either Detroit or Minnesota at Tampa or Atlanta.
Yes, exactly right. So we'll see. No, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun. We'll see where that goes, and as we sit here right now,
I didn't forget that.
Yeah, he's back. You're not rusty. You're good. You can still run this show. The Washington Commanders just marched down the field. 14-play, 70-yard drive, 7-minute drive to make the game 20-14 as we sit here. And if they kick the extra point here, it'll be 21-17. Excuse me. But impressive to 2 long drives by Washington. Washington went on a 7-minute drive to start the third quarter.
Wow.
And now there's another 7-minute drive, and that's why they're now winning this football game, about to be 21-17.
Falcons pretty thoroughly outplayed Washington in the first
Definitely
half.
Definitely did.
Script flipped in the second half.
Yep.
You mentioned the 2 seeds.
Yep.
The 2 seeds have been clinched in football. So let's go to that right now as we keep one eye on the Sunday Night Football game. We'll start in the NFC. The Eagles emphatically clinched that 2 seed. Looked like they were probably going to get it anyway. 41-7 over the Cowboys without their first-string quarterback, and for most of the game without their second-string quarterback.
Well, they're so damn good, as we know. It's not about one player with them.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts still makes them way more dangerous and complete. And and people are a little bit like, well, you always say Jalen Hurts isn't that great. I've had a lot of people say like that to me, like, you always say he's not that great, but now you're saying he's really important or whatever. When you have the way they play, of course, first off, he's really good. Let me just say, I've been saying he's a top 10-ish quarterback for the last year and a half. Okay, so that's damn good. I know people might be mad. I might not say he's 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. But either way, that, and then where his importance to their offense is because they're simple. You've heard me say that. They don't do a lot. They have like 3 run plays. They have like 8 pass plays. Right? But that's where his ability makes that more complex because of the RPOs, because of the quarterback design runs, and then because of his ability to throw the deep ball. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, we have these plays, but the way we tie it together, it makes it actually complicated for you to stop it and figure it out, right? Even though it's not all that complicated. That's where they miss him. Now, they found other ways to do that today. Kenny Pickett got underneath the center a whole lot if you watch the game back. And, like, they were in the I formation. They ran the ball that way. But as you've heard me say all year, I think the Eagles are one of the most complete teams in football. The game started out with Dallas driving the ball, and you went, man, Dallas looks good. And then Cooper Rush threw an interception into double coverage, pick 6, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who got kicked out of the game last week, touchdown. The Dallas gets the ball back and goes right down the field and scores a touchdown, 7-7, and you're like, wow, like is like Philly going to be asleep at the wheel here a little bit? But they woke up right after that, and that was it. And that was all she wrote, really. That was like, from that point on, it was kind of domination, the Eagles, and they started to do whatever they want. And like I said on Football Night in America while I was doing the highlight tonight, it ain't complicated. Run the ball if there's 2 safeties, and when it's man-to-man against Devontae and A.J., I don't give a shit if it's McKee or Pickett or Hurts or Fareed or Sims. Just throw it up to one of those, and something good's going to happen. And that's kind of what we saw again today, and their defense really buckled down as the game went on, too.
Eagles sweep the Cowboys for the first time since 2011, so it's been a while since they've done this for as great as Philly has been here recently. You said it's not about one guy for Philadelphia, but it might be about one guy. Saquon Barkley goes over 2,000 yards, 2005, now needs 101 to break Eric Dickerson's NFL record. Eric was talking to Maria Taylor on your show and go, I don't want to break that record.
Yeah.
He goes, common sense. Why would you want someone to break the record? Which I do appreciate the honesty there, right?
No, ED always keeps it honest. He's a real dude, the man there. But I think the biggest thing today was they were trying to get 2,000 yards in 16 games. That was the accomplishment. Mm-hmm. That's a big-time accomplishment. You go into the pantheon of all-time NFL running backs, you got 2,000 yards in 16 games, right? Now, whether he gets these other 101, I don't know.
So this is what Nick Sirianni said after the game. We'll see if he'll play.
Yes.
I wouldn't guess he's going to play. Why would you? I mean, I know why you would.
Yeah.
But it seems like you're tempting the football gods if you're trying to just for a game that means nothing, right? You got the 2 seed clinched 100%, right now.
100%. Like if there's like you decide you want to play because you want to play to stay fresh and sharp as a football team, and it's about that.
Yeah.
Then okay. But if you go, we're going to play to get some guy a record, I would say the football gods are going to be like, hey, you for making it about one thing. We might have to teach you a lesson here as gods of football, right? And the bigger picture, again, is them winning the Super Bowl. And what I would say, and I think why they gave him the ball so much at the end, because I think in their heart of hearts, they know they're not going to play next week. take it as a bye week. Make sure Jalen Hurts is totally healthy, ready to go. Some of the other guys that you got, veteran players who have been banged up, all that. Get yourself 100% ready, because you could have Washington or Green Bay coming into town. And we know, like we've said, Washington just beat them last week. Green Bay went toe-to-toe with them week 1. They're going to be dangerous. So be at your best for that wild card game to set yourself up. That's what I would say. Yeah. Saquon Barkley in the MVP conversation, Offensive Player of the Year, phenomenal year, crazy year. Because last year, Lamar won the MVP, and it wasn't like a wow year, but he had some wow moments at the end of the year. This year, he's having a better year, and we got 3 other guys that I'd go, all could win the MVP. Burrow, Allen, or Saquon. Where you'd go, if one of those just had the year they're having this year last year, they would have won the MVP last year, right? And now we're in this like, damn, all 4 of them deserve it, and only one's going to get it, and I don't know who that's going to be. But it certainly doesn't feel like it's going to be Saquon. It feels like it's going to be Lamar or Josh Allen.
They'll give him the Offensive Player of the Year, as if like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson don't play offense for some reason. I don't know. I still don't understand that.
Yeah, it's
that
still a weird
thing.
one, right?
So what do we think about the Cowboys here?
Yeah.
So this Mike McCarthy is the first Cowboys head coach with 2 losing seasons since Dave Campo in 2000 and 2002. There's chat. I mean, Jerry is, for everything that he does that you may not like or question, he is very loyal with his head coaches.
He is.
I wonder how this will all shake out for him now.
I mean, unfortunate. I think the first thing I would say is I don't look at Mike McCarthy as being the problem here in Dallas. Right. I don't look at it that way. I mean, he had, 3 years before this where they won 12 wins, right? This year, you lost your quarterback. We went into the year going, they don't look the same on the roster. We don't expect them to be awesome, right? There was the CeeDee Lamb contract issues. There was Michael Parsons and some of that crap going on. Dak Prescott before the year. So I would say a lot of the problems they had were not Mike McCarthy made. I would say they were Jerry made. They were the Jones family made. And that's where I think they realize that and go, wait, we're going to stay with this guy. Mike McCarthy, again, I know I've had in the past, I've been annoyed with how he called offense with Aaron Rodgers and was too conservative and all that. He's still a good football coach. His team still comes to play. I know they didn't come today the same way. But physical, usually pretty detailed, right, on both sides of the ball. I certainly would bring him back. I don't think there's any question about that. And I think still, if they get Micah Parsons signed up, they still got some pieces on that team and a nucleus there where you go, they should be able to return back into the top upper tier of the NFC next year with a healthy Dak Prescott and company, and maybe just getting another weapon on both sides of the ball here and there.
Yeah, 7-9 record right now. Do they have like a 7-win talent roster? Yeah, maybe even a little worse at times with the injuries they've had.
That's the point. Exactly right, Ahmed. Exactly right.
All right, so they're the 2 seed are the Eagles. In the AFC, the Buffalo Bills are the 2 seed. They beat the Jets. They walloped the Jets. They guys put them out of their misery at this point. 40-14, the final score in that one. Buffalo tying a franchise record for wins in a season with 13. They're 8-0 at home for the 3rd time in franchise history, so protecting that home field advantage. The Buffalo Bills are one of those teams that I feel like they have grown their strength as the season has gone on.
That's what it is. This is a team that, the motto is they have enough on offense around Josh Allen to where he doesn't have to carry the squad, right? That's our motto. The defense is really well coached, right? And they got good players. There's not great players, but they hope between the smartness and the IQ of their players and what they do on the defensive side, they can steal a possession or 2 every game, and that'll be good enough, right? Because they're not going to just like shut down playoff offenses drive after drive. That's not going to happen. I would think most playoff game Bills is going to be high 20s, low 30s type of football games. But like today, there was a complete win. One, you got the New York Jets who actually like – I'm going to sit like halfway through the second quarter. This game was very even. In fact, the Jets were moving the ball. I mean, the Buffalo had a great first drive of the game, went down, scored a touchdown. Josh Allen was awesome. He made plays like that. The Jets drive right back down the field, and they're in field goal range around the 10-yard line. They go for it on 4th and 1. The Jets apparently don't care about field goals anymore the last 2 weeks. They are in just like go for it mode. So they refuse to manage a football game or actually try to win. Maybe that's what they're trying to do, right? The next time they make a stop, they drive right down again, the New York Jets. Guess what happens there? Tip pass interception because we're throwing a ball 1 yard in the flat behind through 74 hands. Ball gets tipped up in the air, interception. And then this started to all fall apart. Still, even with the interception, Buffalo's offense didn't do anything. They punted Aaron Rodgers and company deep into their own area, and then there was the safety to make it 9-0, and that's where it kind of felt like, okay, you took the life out of the Jets. They're about to wave the white flag and say, see you later. We're down 12-0. And, from that point on, it was just a slow choke out by the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen and company.
Yeah, and this is a Josh Allen that we have seen him good, obviously, in the past, and you've been singing his praises, but maybe not quite this good. 5th season with 40 or more total touchdowns, 2nd all-time behind Rodgers. And so he is the odds-on MVP winner right now. You take a look at the numbers. I mean, Lamar Jackson, you can make the case, more passing yards, more rushing yards, even more total touchdowns, but he is 2nd in the odds right now. Who would you, of those two men, who would you give it to?
It's a great combo. And I think Pete will tell you, as I know, I was the one 3 weeks ago on PFT with Florio and everybody going, why is this all slam dunk? Can somebody explain this to me? Because Lamar Jackson's been insane. What? It's way better than last year. We just talked about last year was an underwhelming MVP year, right? He won it because of moments against the 49ers late in the year. Remember on Monday Night Football where he just ran everywhere? And then they were going to play the Dolphins the next week. I believe it was the next week. And the Dolphins were fighting for playoffs and spots and all that. And they could have won the AFC East if they won. Remember, they beat them 59-15 or 17 or something like that. So those were big. The stats are incredible by both. Lamar, I would say, has more support around him on the offensive side of the ball, right? Josh Allen's not lacking it. I'm not saying that, but it's not quite as talented as Baltimore. Here is where I think I would go with Josh Allen this year. All right, and this is really close. And again, Joe Burrow probably deserves to be in this conversation too. A little bit of the MVP thing, in my opinion, is moments. Pete heard me say this earlier today. It's moments. And Lamar's been great all year, but I think if you ask a lot of people, what was their moment this year where you went, oh my God, and they'll go, oh, well, I don't know. Every game he has moment. I get it, he does, right? But at the same time, I want to go, Josh Allen in the month of December had a game against the Rams where everyone went, is that the greatest performance I've ever seen in my life, even though they lost, right? Because it was unreal. Then he went into Detroit where no one's been able to beat the Detroit Lions in forever, in 2 years. And he was like, oh, no, screw you and your kneecap biting crap. We're going to win, and it's going to be me, and we're going to outscore you. And then the next week to do that, and then he had the prior game before that against 49ers in the snow where he had moments there. And we had never seen the 49ers defense to that point get trounced the way they were getting trounced. So, and then the week before that, there was the Kansas City Chiefs, and nobody beat them the whole year. And Josh Allen made big plays, let alone a huge scramble where he broke 4 tackles to win the game. So because of that and a better record, right, I guess I'd give it to Josh Allen. But, man, it doesn't make me feel good saying that because Lamar's awesome. It's an MVP year. But I think between moments, they lost to the Raiders, they lost to Browns. And I know Josh Allen lost to the Ravens, and they lost to the Texans. But those are 2 teams that are going in the playoffs, too. I don't know. I guess I give the edge to Josh Allen is what I'm saying.
I think you nailed it. I think there are 3 things that are going against Lamar right here. The moments, I think you laid that out really well. I think the wins as well, right? The better record seems to be the tiebreaker sometimes. And I really do feel like if you won it last year, you have to be even better. If there's another guy that's in your realm there, maybe a guy that hasn't won it before.
I know, right.
We get a little tired of it. Just let's give it to Josh Allen.
That's what I was challenging, though, when I was saying that, because I don't like that we get in these little ruts.
I get it.
You know what I mean? That's not fair. That's all
we gave it to him last year. Let's give it to someone else this year. It's happens in every sport.
Exactly.
You see it in baseball.
We saw it with Michael Jordan in his prime, where you're like, no, he's the MVP every year. It's Michael Jordan. What are we talking about? Right? But it's no, well, he's already won 5, so we don't want to give him any more. So, you're exactly right. That does what happens. That seems what happens here. I don't like it all the time. They both personify MVP, right? Valuable player to their team. Where you go, these teams aren't the same without these 2 guys at quarterback. And the Eagles aren't the same without Saquon. And the Bengals certainly aren't the same without Joe Burrow. And, I wish we would break some of these molds. And why does it always have to be the 1 or 2 seed has to have the MVP? It wasn't always like that.
Unless the 1 seed is the Lions, and then we don't give them
you're right.
MVP.
Then it gets they're not that sexy. They don't have that one sexy guy. So
he's
we're
a
not gonna do
pocket
that.
quarterback. Oh, I don't have to worry about him.
Right.
Garrett Wilson, let's throw this out there. 2nd Jet with 1,000 or more receiving yards in 3 straight seasons. Joins George Sauer of 1966 and 68. That's what I was thinking when I was watching Wilson. I was like,
damn, that's like Sauer.
George Sauer out there.
Yeah.
Exactly
first off,
like that.
is it the most under the radar like 1,000-yard seasons you've ever seen, right?
For sure.
It's as far as like some of the things he talks about, some of the ways he complains, how like sometimes it just goes like, man, their offense doesn't seem to ever give him the ball.
Yeah.
But yet he has 1,000 yards. I think speaks to how talented he is, and certainly one of the pieces that the Jets will build around here for the future as they go on.
With all the weird quarterback play they've had there in the last 3 years.
That's right.
Garrett Wilson's
I mean, did you hear the comments he made last week? He made comments like, I didn't appreciate the Mike LaFleur, like Zach Wilson years, like when they were like drawing up the plays for me all the time. Yeah. He said something like, those were the golden years of my career. And it was like, nobody's ever said that about that time with the Jets offense. But Garrett Wilson is letting you know that the ball is going to Devontae Adams way too much and that he liked it the old way more.
He's just running slants, too. I mean, come on, man. All right, so the 2 seeds have been locked up. Now it is time for Home Team Help, presented by our friends over there at Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement, and home improvement, that encompasses a lot of things, as we've established on this podcast.
Yes, it does.
Washers
things
and
that
dryers.
you and I are not capable of.
Correct.
Right.
The Buccaneers, they beat the Panthers 48-14. A big performance from the guy Baker Mayfield, 5 passing touchdowns. But when we do Home Team Help, we got to look a little under the radar. This is not that much under the radar, but Bucky Irving, 20 carries, 113 yards, also had 4 catches for 77 yards. He has turned into a big play threat for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, like one of the pleasant surprises of football, right? Shows you, too, like sometimes you're that talented in college and you get part of an offense that throws a ton of screens and short passes and you never get to get in a rhythm as a runner or do anything and show everybody what you got. Mm-hmm. Or you don't get to get behind a pulling guard and like set up blockers and do things. And now here's in the NFL, he's behind these schemes and he's like, look at all the other skills I got, guys. I can run in zone. I can run toss sweeps. I know how to like read the backside cut. I know how to set up blockers, do all that, right? He's awesome. I love watching the Bucs offense. I mean, Liam Cohen, I don't know if he gets a head coaching job this year, but he's certainly going to be in that combo here for the next year going forward because of what he's doing, how they're doing it. 1, they can maul you up front with their run game. 2, like you saw today, I mean, Baker's got no conscience. It's just like every throw is like, I tried to throw it 30 yards as hard as I could. Right? I mean, that's literally every one. And that's what it came out today. Every one. This was kind of fun to watch at first. Bryce Young wasn't bad.
They made some big plays,
right? I mean, it was like a little bit at first. You were like, man, we're going to have a shootout here.
Like his connection with Adam Thielen.
Adam Thielen was
awesome
going strong, no doubt. And, even when they hit the big pass to make it 27-14, you're like, damn, Bryce Young's made a ton of plays to make everybody in Carolina feel comfortable that you got your guy going forward. Tampa Bay, though, yeah, it's just, to me, it's the aggressiveness of their offense. It's one, not only the pushing it down the field to the tight ends or Mike Evans or Stover at one, or it might have been Culp that I'm thinking of today, actually going down the middle in Durham. But that, and then they have a good screen game to go off with that. That's where you see Bucky Irvin do a lot of his stuff. But that's a deadly combination. When you can run people, you can throw the ball down the field, and then you could, hey, we're faking throwing the ball down the field and now throwing a screen here. Man, that puts a lot of stress on a defense. And, unfortunately, the Bucs offense is going to have to carry them here. I just think that's just the way it's going to be. They're going to have to score a lot next week. They're going to have to score in the playoffs, whoever it is, because their defense, as we know, is just not that great. But the offense, dangerous as hell. And Baker Mayfield, I think, is playing as good as he's ever played.
So Tampa Bay now would earn a wild card berth with a win next week and 2 Washington losses, of course. Can still win the division depending on what happens with Atlanta here. Dun, 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 dun. 5 minutes to go. Washington up 4 with the ball at the 1-yard line. Ooh.
No, not in yet.
Not in yet.
No, but they could really put this one away here.
Third and goal coming up.
They've the second half, the defense has played really well. They've been all over Michael Penix. They've stripped them a few times. They haven't got the ball, but no rhythm. And we've seen the run game that dominated the first half by Atlanta not really take off. I mean, I'm pretty sure Bijan Robinson had 82 yards at half. He's got 85 yards now, and we're almost done with the football game. So that kind of speaks to it. They haven't been able to stay on the field in Atlanta in the second half. That's been their biggest problem.
Third and goal. Jaden Daniels back to pass, looking over the middle. He's got his guy, touchdown.
Boom. See you later. Oh, they might call a pick play. They're going to call it. I don't think this is a pick play either. I think this just naturally happened, but we'll watch this either way. But Washington's long drives, taking the ball, and then really Atlanta at no point having more than a 4 or 5 play drive in this second half has made life extremely, extremely hard on them.
It is a hold, so they will try it
It's
again.
a hold.
We'll get back to that game as now it's taking too long. This is my rust is showing here. I thought they were going to score right away, and it hasn't happened. One more thing to say about the Buccaneers.
Columbo.
I got one more thing. I don't want to make this the entire MVP pod.
Yeah.
But you could make an argument that Baker Mayfield deserves to have his name in there because where would the Tampa Bay Buccaneers be without Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, I agreed. I mean, the stats verify that. You're right. Big plays.
Big moment. He's had moments for sure.
He's had some moments for sure. Agreed with you there. I don't disagree with you. It's a year where it's actually, as I vote for my AP awards and all that, I'm going to go, damn, there's more than 5 guys that deserve to be on this top MVP conversation, right? Including your quarterback in Detroit, like you talked about, and Jared Goff and all of that. It's a weird year. Like I said, last year it felt like there was no MVP really. This year it feels like there's legitimately 5 of them.
That was Lowe's home team help from our friends over at Lowe's. Zane Gonzalez is coming in to kick the field goal.
Yep,
so
that holding really hurt them. So now they're going to try to go up by a touchdown.
All right, so Atlanta will still – Michael Penix will
to my point with what they've done so far in this game, Washington and Atlanta's only had the ball 8 plays in the second half.
Wow.
Okay? 8 plays. So that is some long drives by Washington. Yeah, 3 long drives by Washington for scores, and Atlanta's had 3 and outs, and that's why you can't get Bijan Robinson going or anything like that right now.
All right, this was a great first segment.
Yeah.
Thanks for getting me back in the mix here. I feel warmed up. I feel ready to go.
You're feeling like Jared Goff in the fourth quarter. We're going for it, man.
I'm just warming up right now.
It's 4th and 94, and we're going for it.
Exactly.
Because our field goal kicker, he's not good from 105.
Outdoors on grass in the wind. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going into the printing press. We got Give Me the Headlines for a couple of games here, and then many more games to talk about. There are a lot of games this week.
Yeah, full slate.
All right, we're back after this. It is time for Give Me the Headlines presented by Hyundai. It is late. It is almost 11 p.m. here on the East Coast.
It's early for us.
It is early for us.
Yeah.
I'm raring
We're
to
moving
go.
on. We're moving well here.
Although I was in at 10:30 this morning doing 4 college basketball games.
Yeah, I know. Cry me a river, Justin Timberlake. All right, suck that shit up. You're here with me now.
You're right. It's still early. We got 2 games in the printing press. The articles have been written. We just need the headlines.
Yeah.
And Chris Sims is the best headline guy in the
got
business. Dolphins beat the Browns 20-3, a shellacking here. No Tua.
No Tua.
A surprise scratch
right
early in this one with a hip injury. Now we don't even know if he'll play again this regular season or if they make the playoffs.
Kind of crazy.
Still in the playoff hunt, though, because they won this game. Your headline for it is?
In the Huntley. Get it? Huntley is the quarterback.
And they're in the hunt.
They are in the hunt.
So they can clinch a playoff berth with a win at the Jets. Well, that'll be easy.
Yeah.
And they need Denver to lose against Kansas City in a game that the Chiefs do not need to play any of their starters in. So
and
that
we'll
would be the worry.
discuss that later. There's some things to discuss there, certainly.
Right. But they're still in it. Is
still in it. Defense is damn good. I mean, the defense is a pain in the butt in what they're doing there down in Miami. And, of course, we said this a little last week, Cleveland's just, with DTR at quarterback, they're just not dangerous enough on the offensive side of the ball. I think one thing that we've seen here is, like, DTR is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. And I also do wonder if he's doing well enough here to actually solidify himself as the backup quarterback. That's what the test is right now, and I think it's very iffy where we're at after the last 2 games I've saw.
He threw the ball 47 times for a grand total of 170 yards.
Exactly right, and it just doesn't look good, right? I think anybody watching the game, the look doesn't look right. There's missed throws, right? Sometimes the ball flutters in the air. It doesn't look the way you'd want it to. You know, he does have some movement ability, but doesn't throw great with people collapsing on him in the pocket. Now, Miami, hey, that was the most Tua-like performance I've seen from a quarterback that they've had, not named Tua. Usually this offense kind of falls apart without Tua, right?
So Kamiz Artionami.
Right. What's he saying?
Say it. If you speak at all on Snoop Huntley, be sure to recognize that among his 4 incompletions were an intentional spike, a pure drop by Malik Washington.
Yeah, I saw that.
He pretty much ran the full Tua offense and was leading rusher on the day. No fluke.
That was my big thing watching it, was going, this is the first time I've watched the Dolphins without Tua and go, they look like they're running their offense. And again, reps are important. That's where a guy that's getting practice, he's played a little bit this year. He's starting to understand how teams and people defend, some of the things, the motions, the shifts they do. But if you watch the game back, you're going to go, boom, it was Washington over the middle. Tyreek Hill, little skinny pop slant post over the middle, boom, boom, boom. And then, of course, made some nice plays with his legs. He did a good job. They're a ball, like I've been saying, they're a ball control, ugly passing football team. It's a little odd because they're so explosive, but they're not explosive right now. They kind of just, hey, 5 yards here, 4 yards here, keep the clock going. We're going to control the clock. We'll score, maybe field goal, maybe touchdown, and we'll rely on our defense. It's interesting how they're doing it, but it's effective, and it's kind of ugly. It's not as fun to watch as it used to be with the Miami Dolphins, but I give Huntley a lot of credit. And this kind of performance, Huntley, he puts another one out there like this. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Cooper Rush has bought himself being a backup quarterback for the next 8 years in the NFL because of the way he played. Tyler Huntley, he puts another performance out like this next week. Same for him. He is going to buy himself a ticket to be, I'm a backup quarterback in the NFL for a long, long time. You can trust me, and I hope he does it. And he looked good today. He definitely did.
Yeah, I kind of thought that with Tyler Huntley in Baltimore. I mean,
exactly.
That was a little
it was kind of going
bit
that
of a
way.
head scratcher.
Right.
It's like, he's the perfect guy
right.
to stay
exactly
there and be the
right.
backup quarterback, and now it seems like he's the perfect guy to be in Miami to be the backup quarterback.
He gets the ball out of his hands quick. He's pretty accurate. And what I would like to add on to this today is the way he threw and being accurate, they didn't run the ball worth a freaking damn today. Right? He led the team in rushing.
Yep.
They never got that going. So that tells you that they had to rely on him to make some throws and make some plays. They did it. Showed a little grit. Good for the Miami Dolphins getting the win on the road.
So a bad offensive day for the Cleveland Browns, a better one by the Miami Dolphins. A great offensive day by the New York Giants.
What? Say that again. That doesn't go in the same sentence. One more time for me.
45. The great offensive day for the New York Giants. I'll run that back. 45 points, the most they have scored in a game since 2015.
Holy crap.
It's been almost a decade there. They beat the Colts. They eliminate the Colts from playoff contention, 45-33. Your headline for this game is?
Bad neighbors. We're bad neighbors. I mean, we're only a few states over from Indianapolis. And, you're supposed to give them a nice New York welcome. Go, hey, you still want to get in the playoffs? We suck. We'll give you that chance.
And we want the number one pick, so maybe we will let you win this game.
But Malik Neighbors went off today. I think clearly his best game as a rookie, right?
He was awesome.
He was awesome. It wasn't just like toe-tapping catches on the sideline. I mean, what he did after the catch on a few plays, of course, his ability to catch the ball with people around him and hanging on him, to me, that's one of the special things he has because he's not 6'4", right? But he can jump, and he's strong as hell. So that was awesome to watch. And then, of course, Drew Lock looked like he settled in. I was shocked at how well they moved the ball on the Colts all day. I really did. Dayball and company on the offensive side, they had it down as far as knowing the rules of that Seattle scheme defense and how to attack it a little bit. And, man, I mean, from the get-go, they had their way on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah. And then you couple that with a few mistakes early on that kind of jump-started I think the Giants, Flacco throwing a bad interception on the first drive when they were in field goal range and maybe driving it down to score a touchdown or do something like that. That was a big moment. There was the kick return to start the third quarter because it kind of felt like, are the Giants going to be able to hang on? Are they going to mess this up somehow, some way?
It was the big plays,
and
right?
It was
Malik Neighbors either the jump ball or the making guys miss
right.
with the touchdown.
Right.
They didn't run the ball that well, but Tracy had a 40-yard, ripped off a 40-yard run. So it was like a few big plays for the Giants in that one. That advanced them. Dun, 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 dun.
You're good today. I had to point at you.
A tip of the cap from our producer, Matt Casey, with the back seat, keeping an eye on the game. So Atlanta just converted a 4th and 11.
4th and 11
at
out
the
route.
19, 2:25 to go. 1st and 10. 7 points down.
Yep, and now they got Ray McCloud on a little speed sweep. Another first down. They're inside the 4-yard line.
Wow.
So it's over 2 minutes left still. So even if they score here, Jaden Daniels is going to have the ball, which is going to be scary. But, damn, Penix, laser, out route, Drake London on 4th and 11. Come on. Like, that's the stuff that, yes, he's going to be able to bring to the table to a different level maybe that Kirk Cousins couldn't do that.
All right, got a couple as we get back here to the Giants. Compass Traveler says, welcome back, AF. Hope it's all okay. Giants don't know how to tank properly. They had one chance at the 100th anniversary, and they screwed it. So as a Giants fan,
I don't care.
Are you conflicted?
I'm not conflicted. First off, it's just too hard. And, like, with the guy like Brian Daboll who's coaching for his life, and, like, he's like, what do you think? He's going to, like, not coach as well here down the stretch and, like, give up. It's hard to tank and get everybody to tank. Go ahead again.
Dun, 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 dun. What just happened
They
right there?
snapped the ball over. I think they got in the Wildcat, and they snapped the ball over Bijan Robinson's head. 22-yard loss. So we went from second and goal to the 4, or first and goal at the 4 to second and goal on the 26 now.
Wow.
So Michael Penix is going to have to bring out the howitzer here at some point and throw a touchdown pass.
So now Bijan Robinson has fewer yards maybe total now than he did in the first half, right? Because he has, he has 59 yards total right now.
That's crazy. That shouldn't go against his rushing stat.
My son's going against him in fantasy, so I think
so
that
he's
actually
happy
should.
about
That
that.
actually should go against.
Definitely.
He should be in bed right now, but we'll see. All right, 2-minute warning right there. Okay, so
Giants, yeah.
back to the Giants
Right.
here. Pete has written something in the rundown. He goes, hold on. Chris said this, quote, we want to win line last year, and then the Giants won some games with Tommy Cutlets and blew their chance at Jaden Daniels.
Yes.
He goes, but I do agree. Just win, baby.
Well, again, it's a hard thing to do to get everybody into that, right? Like Drew Lock's playing for his life, so he's not going to sit there and be like, well, I know the owner doesn't want us to win, so I won't throw to Malik Neighbors when he's open. It's in the NFL, tanking has got more parts than any other sport. So that's where it's tough. It's going on Brian Daboll's gravestone about his record with the Giants. He's not going to just give it up. He's not. Let alone he probably thinks he's getting fired anyway, so he's like, the next regime and their first pick. I don't give a damn, right? So that there's too many things involved in that altogether.
Yeah.
But also last year, I was still hopeful. Daniel Jones tore his ACL early in the year. They had that tough schedule to start the year. So I was still hopeful, hey, we can make this work with Daniel Jones and make that happen, right? So that's where it was a little different. I know we might not have the number 1 pick. We'll see.
Who even is the number 1
Right?
player, though?
I don't know if we know
it's
that
debatable.
either. And the good thing is the Patriots got the number 1 pick right now, and they don't need a quarterback. So that shouldn't hurt us, but we'll see where this goes. I understand the frustration by the fans.
But I always say this, too. It's like the reason you won this game, a big part was Malik Neighbors.
Yes.
And you'd rather have Malik Neighbors on your team and the number 4 pick than Malik Neighbors not on your team and the number 1 pick.
From TV scouting, right, we know Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward are going to be in the conversation, and I'm just going to tell you, I will be shocked, right, and I'll be the first one to tell you when I break it down. I think Jalen Milroe is going to get in this conversation from Alabama. I do. I've seen just enough watching TV to go, he opens my eyes up about as much as anybody in the game. So we'll see where it goes. Maybe we don't even know who the hot commodities are yet. It's still very early in the process.
Okay, so real quick on the Indianapolis side here, eliminated from playoff contention, Slapper Dink says, explain to me honestly why any coach or GM should remain on the Colts payroll. Look at the last 8 years, then explain it to me like I'm 5 years old. So Slapper Dink pretending he's 5 years old.
Okay, so there's a lot there. First off, I'm a huge fan of Shane Steichen. So you're not going to get me off that train. I mean, Shane Steichen, what we've talked about all year. I mean, he's had quarterback that can't really complete a pass on a consistent basis, and they still make it competitive and are in the playoff conversation, and offensively are a pain in the ass to deal with week after week, even though their quarterback's going 7 for 24. So that says something to it there, right? I understand too that the draft, they've had a lot of good meat and potatoes. Maybe they've missed on a few superstars here and there or whatever else. To me, the big thing is they just have not been able to get the splash player on the defensive side of the ball, and they haven't been able to get the quarterback situation right. Since Andrew Luck retired on them unexpectedly, that has thrown their whole organization into a frenzy, and they have not been able to nail down that position. So what I would say is that you were delivered a really tough blow with that, and it set back your organization a little bit, and now it's cost you coaches and certain other players on it, and that's why Slapper Dink, I would say, I'm not trying to talk to you like you're 5 years old, but I wouldn't give up on everything in your organization. But here we go.
That was Give Me the Headlines presented by Hyundai. Dun, 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 dun. Michael Penix over the middle. Kyle Pitts, touchdown. 4th and goal.
Damn.
Wow.
Michael Penix Jr. He's doing to Jaden Daniels what Jaden Daniels has done to everybody else all year long.
What do you do right here? It's a minute 19 left.
Yeah. Minute 19 left. I would kick it. There's too much time left right here. So I would still just kick it and go for the tie and try to play defense.
This is your only chance to win in regulation, though.
Man, Pitts down the middle touchdown, showing some toughness right there that I like to see. We did have a guy on our pregame show question Kyle Pitts' toughness, and he lives in the same city as him.
I think the quote was, "You're too big to be that soft." That's a good point, right? Rodney better watch out.
The next fundraiser he goes to, they're gonna be like, "Hey, Kyle Pitts is here," and Rodney's gonna be like, "Who? Oh, I have to go now. Yep, I got to pick up my kids. See you later."
Yeah, he goes, "You are actually very big." That's true. Although I don't think Rodney is ever scared in his whole life. Has ever been scared of anybody.
Rodney is the toughest dude ever. Now, The mind might be willing, but the body might not be able at this point in his life, though. We'll see.
All right, so we'll keep our eye on that one. We finish up our Sunday games with For the Love of the Game. They play these games because they just love the game.
You know it.
And they're getting a paycheck, too, and so if they don't play, they might not get that paycheck. Raiders defeat the Saints by 15. 25-10 was the final score. Raiders, give them credit. Consecutive wins for the first time this season. I know Antonio Pierce, a lot of people talk, is he the right guy for the job? Why'd they rush into naming him the permanent guy? They're finishing the year at least strong against, albeit not great opponents, but still equal opponents, and they're beating them.
I mean, they've played hard.
Yes.
I mean, you look at their schedule and how they've played. I mean, nobody's blown them out. Nobody. I mean, it's one of the biggest losses of the year is the Bengals, 41-24. All right, the Dolphins got them 34-19. Everything else is 10, 2 touchdowns. I mean, they're hanging in there. What did we expect from the Raiders? That's the only thing I would say in defending Antonio Pierce, almost like we had with Mike McCarthy. Like, we weren't looking at the Raiders going, well, if Antonio Pierce does his job, they should go 12-5. Like, no way. There's nothing there. But they kind of dominated this game yesterday. I mean, Amir Abdullah, like, career day and year 8 of his career? Like, all of a sudden he just, like, can't be tackled, running up the middle, breaking tackles, doing all that. And I like the way Aiden O'Connell plays. Listen, I understand he's not, like, the future of the organization. But he is showing me to be maybe a potential full-time starter at some point in his life, if not a high-end backup quarterback for a long time, or maybe even one of those bridge quarterbacks that we've seen happen and get success that way, like a Sam Darnold somewhere down the line, and then he can prove he's a starter that way.
Like, if you have everything, like, not everything, but if you have above-average offensive line receivers, he can run a functional
stand in there
offense
and make the throws and make the right reads and do that. I mean, we saw that. I mean, shit, they should have beat the Kansas City Chiefs a few weeks ago. Let's be serious. But, man, him throwing the ball, Brock Bowers, we can't say enough about it. I mean, again, it's probably like the most under-talked about awesome tight end performance in the history of football.
Well, he just broke the rookie tight end record previously held by Mike Ditka for receiving yards in a season for a rookie. He goes over 1,100 now. Receptions, he's over 108.
Broke Puka Nakua's record.
And he's one of these where you say, the draft, and you never know, right? I mean, the Raiders never would have drawn it up to get Brock Bowers in the draft. They wanted one of those quarterbacks,
definitely.
Right?
And he falls a little bit like, oh, shit, who's the next best player on our board now that all the quarterbacks are gone?
Now you might have ended up with one of the best tight ends ever in football history.
Yeah, he's special. They have some things that I like about them going forward. Brock Bowers, of course. Jacoby Myers, like you saw today, he's a good player. Trey Tucker, he's another one that I really like on their little gadget weapon guy on their offense. And then they're coached really well on the defensive side of the ball, and they're doing this without Max Crosby. But like I said to start, they kind of dominated the game. If it weren't for the trick play, throw it to the receiver threw it back to Spencer Rattler, who threw a touchdown. The Saints really didn't do jack diddly squat on offense all day. Good job by the Raiders showing up second to last week of the year, playing some tough football.
For the Saints, 11 losses, their most in a season since 2005 under Jim Haslett. Full rebuild in order for the New Orleans Saints at this point.
Here's the problem with the Saints. They've done a horrible job with their salary cap.
Ooh, yeah.
They're still paying Drew Brees. I mean, they're still on the book for Drew Brees crap. They're on the books for all these old players that they've kind of kept around, and hey, we'll give you a bonus so it kicks some of the charge down the road and all that.
Yeah.
This will not be the quickest, easiest rebuild in the world. This will be a little bit of this could take 3 years to get everything in order, some drafts, and let some money clear out on their salary cap.
I mean, in their defense, we might still be paying Drew Brees, too. So it's a common mistake that does happen.
You're on fire tonight.
All right, so put a pin in that one, and now we move on to the Jaguars-Titans, another one for the love of the game. Two teams that would only make their draft position worse by a win in this one. But Jacksonville, 2-0 now against the Titans this season, 2-12 versus the rest of the NFL. And one of the guys you liked Malik Neighbors. You liked his teammate, Brian Thomas Jr., fourth rookie in the Super Bowl era with over 1,100 receiving yards and 10 receiving touchdowns in his rookie season, tying Randy Moss, Odell Beckham, and Jamar Chase, all part of that group.
Hey, Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. are special, right? I mean, again, this is why I fall in love with speed and all that at times, and they had the size and the strength to go along with it. But you saw this type of separation and explosiveness from these two guys, and they're special. And I think that these two are going to be dueling it out in like the next years of like almost like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, right? It's going to be the same type of thing. It's going to be year 4 of their career, and they're going to be like, I want to lead the football in receiving, and the other one's going to be like, no, I want to, and it's going to be this like friendly rivalry they're going to have. I really think it's headed that way, but super talented. Jaguars controlled the football game today. You know, it's too hard on the offensive side of the ball by the Tennessee Titans. Mac Jones made a few good plays. You know, Bigsby ran the ball well early. Etienne started to pick it up later on in the football game. And, like, I think the cool thing is that they just have, over the last 6 weeks, they just went, like, every pass play, Brian Thomas Jr. is the first read. Like, they went through him. And you saw him take that, control, you know, what he can control and play really awesome football that way. Good, just like I said with Antonio Pierce, I do want to give Doug Peterson the same credit. Like, they didn't fall asleep. They haven't, like, totally packed it in. They've tried to play tough. They played competitive. A little like I just said with the Raiders too. You look at their losses. They won by 7. They lost by 5 last week. They lost by 7. They won by 4. They lost by 3, right? So they got shellacked by the Detroit Lions, and they at least have stayed competitive since that point. But it does feel like that's coming to an end there. I don't know what, it just doesn't feel like Doug Peterson will be back.
Oh, you don't think he'll be back?
I don't think he will.
I would have bet a lot of money that he would not have lasted to the end of the season.
I was surprised by that at one point too. Oh, wow.
So it's going to be 4th down.
Yeah, 3rd and 10 over the middle. Jaden Daniels just threw a strike about 20 yards down the middle of the field, and it was dropped. So they're going to punt the ball with 50 seconds left here. A little in-cut by Zacchaeus, and man, he put his hands the wrong way.
Yeah, he tried to catch it with his neck.
He did. He tried to trap it between his hands and his shoulder pads, and he didn't put his hands out the right way, and it got up on him, and he dropped it. And that's a game-winning play left on the field right there. Now Washington's defense is going to have to make the hold.
All right, so that game continues. We're going to take a break, pick it up on the other side of it. Maybe we'll have Atlanta driving for a game-winning field goal there. So take a break. We got to recap some games on Christmas and other days, and we'll do that when we come back.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Chris Sims Unbuttoned, presented by our friends at Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement, and Sunday Night Football knows drama. Dun, dun, da, 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 da. 2nd down and 10, 12 seconds to go, 24-24. Yep. Atlanta with the ball. It is, where is it? Right
Penix just hit a big throw on the right sideline that got him about 25 yards. So they're on their own 44 here with 12 seconds. On that big throw, they should have called timeout, and they didn't. Correct. And now they're down to 12 seconds. So
Penix time over the middle. Oh, there could be a flag. No,
looked like it was
contact.
incidental. Yeah, it looked like it was some trippage over the feet, but he was trying to go down the middle and like a post down the middle against 2 deep. And Drake London got tripped up and fell. So now you got one play, 7 seconds. They're going to have to try to throw. They can throw it anywhere on the football field, but, of course, it's going to have to be quick, get down, call a timeout, and then hopefully give Younghoe Koo a chance to hit a long field goal.
Or, I mean, Michael Penix has a strong arm.
Well, he could Hail Mary it, but I still think they're going to try to get a completion field goal here. If they don't get the completion, then 4th down, you're going to see the Hail Mary, which will be scary with Drake London and Kyle Pitts.
Quick throw right here.
Here we go. 3 receivers to the left.
3rd and 10.
Bijan to the right.
Oh, they're trying to draw him off sides here or something.
Oh, they called timeout here. They're going to think about the play they want to call.
We'll get back to that one.
All right.
We don't want you to forget the games that already happened.
Yep.
I'm falling apart. My stamina is low.
You got the black lung.
Saturday, hey, don't say that. That could be happening too. This month has been crazy enough. Bengals defeat the Broncos in overtime. Back and forth game. Bengals had a chance to win it with a short, chippy field goal in overtime. They had a chance to win it in regulation.
Craziness. Typical Bengals crap this year, really.
Denver would have clinched a playoff berth with a win there, I believe, right? But can still do it with a win against Kansas City or losses by Miami and Cincinnati. So they're still in it here. Cincinnati's actually got the longer of shot here. They need to win and need some help here.
Yeah. They need Miami to lose. They need Denver to lose. That's going to be their and then, of course, they got to win and beat the Steelers. That's their two things that have to happen.
So here's the question. Will the Chiefs want to let the Denver Broncos win so that Cincinnati is balanced? Because who's hotter right now and more dangerous than the Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah, I mean,
of those fringe playoff teams.
No, I'm with you there. That's scary. Well, it's not only it's the fringe playoff teams, but they're also the team that's got experience making runs in the playoffs, right? So it's like the Dolphins and the Broncos, yeah, cool, they can get in the playoffs, so they've never done anything in the playoffs. People are going to go, the Bengals, they've shown they can beat Mahomes in Kansas City. They've shown they can whoop the crap out of Buffalo in Buffalo, right? And then, of course, with him playing quarterback and those two guys at receiver, they're scary as hell. And what makes it even better is because their defense sucks, so their offense knows they have to be scary as hell, and they're playing as good as they can play. I mean, Joe Burrow's on fire right now. What can you really say about what he's doing? He deserves another guy. Again, I mean, if they had just won 2 or 3 more games, I'm sitting here like stressing for the next week going, I don't know who I'm going to pick for MVP. This isn't even fair that I'm going to have to pick any of these guys. I mean, it's that way. That's how good it has. Oh, my gosh.
So Michael Penix under duress was trying to get rid of it, find a guy. A flag flies in. There's 2 seconds left. It looks like it might be either pass interference or
holding. I don't know.
If it's pass
either.
Interference, they're in field goal range for sure.
Exactly right. Let's say it
holding,
might be holding. If they called it right there, it's holding.
Oh, they're calling pass interference.
Wow.
Oh, so they are in field goal range here.
I think that's defensive holding.
It did look like holding.
Now, you can see right there, the ball wasn't released. It should have been defensive holding. But now, yes, they're going to have a chance
now, it is spot of the foul still, though, so I wonder where that pass interference was.
Right. If they called it where he held it, it's still going to be a really long field goal. So let's see where this goes. And that's right. Younghoe Koo. It's Patterson at field goal. Sorry, I'm so accustomed to that. Yep, Riley Patterson.
So that looks like it was right around the 40-yard line.
Yeah, which would make it a 57-yard field goal.
And here they go, 56-yard field goal.
56-yarder, Riley Patterson
So Washington's got a timeout, so they'll call it here.
For his life.
Okay. Well, not his life, but he will survive.
For his football life.
That could be true, right? For his profession.
There's Younghoe Koo.
A shot of Younghoe Koo on the sidelines.
Now they're starting the clock. I don't know. They might not call a timeout. They might just keep the pressure on this young guy.
His career long is 53, so this would be a game-winning, career-long field goal.
I'm going to say he pushes it right.
The kick is up. The kick is...
It's good.
Oh, it's got the distance.
It's good.
It is...
Oh, it's short.
My gosh. Remember when I said it had the distance?
Yeah.
It was not even close.
No, it wasn't. It landed 5 yards deep in the end zone. It was dead straight, though.
It was dead straight.
Yes, it was.
I'm just used to those definitely having the distance.
Yes.
I know. They usually do. That's what I should have said. It has the accuracy.
Yes.
Does not have the distance.
No, it doesn't.
All right.
So that game continues.
Going to overtime, so we'll be here all night.
Yeah.
All right. As we move on to other games that happened on Saturday, the Chargers.
We good with the Denver
no,
Bengals
probably
game?
Not, actually. What should we say about Denver?
Well,
anything? What do you think?
I think Denver. That was a tough matchup for them. Denver's defense is aggressive. It's in your face a little bit, as anybody who was watching the game on Saturday afternoon would see. It's just that's like the worst team in the world you want to play aggressive in your face against, right? Their MO, Riley Moss 1-on-1 against T. Higgins. Well, we gotta have fun with that. Patrick Surtain 1-on-1 against Jamar Chase. I mean, I love Patrick Surtain. He ain't gonna win that with Jamar Chase right now. Jamar Chase is like special, right? Surtain is awesome, certainly. He's an island corner. I was having this conversation with Pete, but I do want to make this clear. He's not island corner yet to like it was like Darrelle Revis or some of the other great corners of our time. It's the most island corner in football right now, but I would say football is not about the island as much as it used to be, right? I mean, he still plays a ton of zone. You still saw a ton of plays last night where you go, they don't trust him to play man-to-man in the situation. They're playing zone, and that made both of them go off. And so it annoyed me. I'm not even going to lie. I wanted Surtain on Jamar Chase a whole lot more than he was, or T. Higgins. I thought that was their chance to kind of make things confusing for the Bengals offense. They didn't do that. The other thing is that, I mean, Bo Nix, how can you not like what you're seeing from him and the plays he's making and doing there? Clutch at the end of the football game with the big touchdown pass. Unfortunate. Hey, but they're another team. I think they'll be scary in the playoffs with that defense, and then Sean Payton game planning some crazy plays to throw at you in the wild card game. That'll be scary. It won't be as scary as Joe B and Higgins and Jamar Chase, but it'll be scary.
Yeah, don't know if we'll see the Bengals or the Broncos in the playoffs quite yet. We do know we're going to see the LA Chargers.
Yes, we are.
They defeat the Patriots 40-7. So this is one where I think I saw an article with Jim Harbaugh. It's like Chargers rewarded for going culture over play caller. Now, I do think Jim Harbaugh knows his plays pretty well, too. He's had pretty good offenses no matter where he's went.
Yeah.
But you can make the case that he definitely, in all of football, the biggest culture change was in L.A. with the Chargers, and now they're a playoff team.
The Chargers don't charger anymore, right? That was
right.
a thing, right? Still, like, hey, we all want creative plays and all that, but still, like, taking care of the football, physicality, tackling, right? Making the right play in a situational part of the football game are still the most important things. And Jim Harbaugh shows that he's as good at coaching that stuff as anybody in football. Really, maybe as good as anybody we've seen in the last 20 years, not named Bill Belichick, honestly. I mean, when it comes to that type of stuff, like, no Jim Harbaugh team is ever what do I want to say, not buttoned up in those areas, right?
Sure.
So they've done that. Now it's just going to be adding the pieces to make it better. But, yeah, that was dominant. That was a game yesterday where the Patriots, off of that good showing up in Buffalo, didn't show up to play, right? That's what's hard about the end of the year with teams that had nothing to play for. You don't know what the motivation is or what happens to, and, like, what happened in this one. Drake May got a little banged up. They got down in the football game. And then, yeah, when you're 3-12 and you get down 17-0 in a hurry, you're just like, wait, I just was looking at where I'm going vacationing with my wife in like 10 days. And, like, you're just not in the same place. And, of course, it snowballed out of control. Herbert made some phenomenal throws, and it was good to see J.K. Dobbins back out there running hard, too, for the Chargers.
Harbaugh does a good job, and I don't know if it's just through his love of the game, his enthusiasm. He gets buy-in, right? I mean, last year at Michigan with J.J. McCarthy, here you have a quarterback that potentially, a top 10 pick, number 1 pick maybe. They're not throwing the ball at all.
No.
And they buy in. He buys into it. You got wide receivers that still go there, that buy into it.
He tells you how great Justin Herbert is every chance he can get, because he probably knows a little bit, like, hey, we're going to play ugly, and I'm not going to make him look as good as he really is because we're going to play this style. So he props them up all the time. Buy-in? You said it right. Definite buy-in. I mean, he's got them singing "He's a Jolly Good Fellow" in the locker room after the game. That's the corniest shit ever. But the team is like, yes, we're winning. He's a jolly good fellow. Like, come on. That's ultimate buy-in right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he knows how to talk and communicate and motivate in his own little quirky ways. He's so much more player-friendly than I think people realize. And that's a lot like Belichick, too. There's a connection he has with the players that's really good. He might be different and quirky and weird, and it looks like he has binoculars for glasses, but nonetheless, the damn guy can coach some football, and man, Justin Herbert can throw that damn ball.
I'm trying to make a short list of coaches who could get their team to sing "He's a Jolly Good Fellow."
Exactly.
I think John Harbaugh's on that list, no coincidence.
Right.
I think Mike Tomlin might be on that list.
That's right. Dan Campbell probably is too.
Andy Reid's on that list.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
It's not
a
many.
short list.
It's a short
list. Everybody else who started looking at the side eye going, man, our coach is a dork. What? What? Jolly good fellow.
That really might be it. McVay might be able to get away with it.
Maybe.
They think, all right, maybe there's something cool about this. But wow, a very select few there.
Yeah.
Speaking of McVay, the Rams, they defeat the Cardinals 13-9. So now they put themselves in very good position to clinch the NFC West with a Washington win. So if Washington wins this, the Rams clinch the West, and or San Francisco win versus Detroit tomorrow.
Yeah, so they can clinch in a number of ways,
correct,
and still be clinched, before this week's up.
They beat the Cardinals 13-9.
Wasn't pretty,
no,
as we know. I mean, you got to be a little concerned with the Rams' offense and how it's looked. It was like here's my big thing with the Rams, and this is to me just watching a little film too, is we know Puka Nacua is their star. He's the guy they feature the offense around, but Cooper Kupp's just not the same. It's not the same guy. So they can't depend on him anymore now to go, oh, they doubled Puka or this or that, and now Cooper is going to win his matchup. He doesn't always win it now. And like Tutu Atwell, who didn't play the other night, or certainly wasn't I don't think he played, but he certainly wasn't any role in the football game. He's another guy that when he's out there and at least they take some shots down the field, it opens up their offense. And Like not having him, I think hurts them a little bit. I do. But yeah, I'm a little worried now. I am. I went the last 2 weeks saying the Rams, the passing offense, they played some opponents in the 49ers and the Jets that are from their coaching tree. So they might know how McVay operates. I'm not going to panic yet. But after that, what I saw the other night, I'm a little scared with the way the offense. That's 3 kind of stinkers in a row by Matt Stafford and company in that offense as far as the passing game goes. And that's rare to see with any team Matt Stafford's quarterbacking.
Yeah, 14 targets to Puka Nacua. No other receiver had more than 3, and that includes Cooper Kupp.
Well, it just feels like it's all him. And it feels like he's, like I said, they feature it around him. But it also feels like he's the only guy dependable that they feel like he can win the matchup more times than not. And that's hard. It's hard when you play a good coach like Gannon who knows how to take some things away and do all of that. Unfortunate. Cardinals hung in there. Give them a lot of credit. Kyler Murray had a really good year. Of course, I know James Conner, his year was really good, even though he didn't do much the other night. Trey McBride at tight end is shown himself to be one of the best pass-catching tight ends in all of football, right? Marvin Harrison Jr., he's not as good as Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas Jr., but he's damn good. You got a franchise receiver, and now they got a lot of money and draft picks to play with in this offseason. The future is bright in Arizona is the point here. Tough loss for them, but I think this was a year still that was a lot of positives more than negatives.
In the mix for a division title up into the last final weeks of the season, so they will not be in the playoffs
and last
once
thing,
again.
The Rams D. That's what I wanted to hit on. The Rams D has come alive. The front 7 where I kept – remember, like, before you went to drug rehab and all that stuff, remember, we were like, hey, the Rams D, they got some potential. They got some guys that can disrupt – like, they're disrupting on the regular now. Like, on the regular. They're having moments of games where I'm going, the front 7's controlling the football game.
Braden Fisk,
exactly.
One of those guys.
Jared Verse, of course, the other D tackle, Kobe Turner.
Yeah.
I mean, they got some guys in there that pop. They really do. Cameron Curl's been great in the secondary and down by the box and blitzing and doing all that. So I got to give them a lot of respect in what Shula, the defensive coordinator, has done there for them.
All right, it's a Rams win. Little ugly, 13-9. The game was not as ugly, though, as the Thursday game with the Seahawks defeating the Bears 6-3.
Do we have to talk about this one?
We don't, really.
It is really bad. Really bad. First off, Caleb Williams, yes, too many missed throws, but damn did he make some of the damnedest throws ever. The Seattle Seahawks, I'll be interested to see what their approach is in the offseason. I will. Just as far as, is Gina the guy going forward? Do they look for somebody in the future? What will it be? There's, again, another team I would say they have a lot of pieces. The Bears and the Seahawks, a lot of pieces. Now can they get the requisite make sense pieces around those guys to make their team better next year? Certainly the way the game was managed at the end by the coach for the Chicago Bears and the timeout and not knowing what to do. It was all a bad look, and they've not helped Caleb Williams out very much this year. I feel bad for him, but I am still a big believer in him. You know that.
Yeah, and he's a rookie, right? But it seems like there's not – and there's –
Thomas Brown, head coach.
There's enough blame to go around.
Right.
With Thomas Brown, the play calling, and all the weapons
crazy.
he has. But it doesn't seem like so far this year – they make enough winning plays, right? You just see those plays. It's like, you got to have that play.
Exactly
you got to have that play.
Exactly
they just
right.
Don't make
it's always
those plays.
something, whether it's protection or he misses a throw where you're like, what? You're too good to miss that throw. It's just been off kilter ever since the Commanders' Hail Mary. They've never recovered. It's been a disaster ever since.
Speaking of the Commanders, dun 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 dun. Second down and 6. Jaden Daniels, first down.
Second and 6, first down. They're going to go down and score a touchdown here and end this game on the first drive of overtime.
They should.
Here's another long drive, though, that this Atlanta defense can't stop, right? This is overtime, and here we are. We're going on a 6-minute drive, 10 minutes in overtime, and there's 4:30 left already in the drive. Atlanta's defense has not been able to get off the field the whole second half.
Pete notes that the Commanders also clinch a playoff spot with a tie, so they got 2 ways they can win it here, and so there's only 4:30 to go, and so, they have held the ball here. First and goal from the 8-yard line, Jaden Daniels.
They might run a quarterback draw here again. I wouldn't be shocked.
2 receivers to the left, 2 receivers to the right.
Let's see.
Empty backfield. He's
quarterback
running
design
to
run to the left. Pull up.
Missed a guy. Number 20 needed to be blocked, and he was not.
Yep. They ran quarterback power, basically. Pulled 2 linemen to the left, and he tried to run behind that. Chewed up a lot of clock, though. Again, it's under 4 minutes left as we sit here.
And if Atlanta loses this game, are they eliminated?
No, they're not eliminated because
they
can. If they win next week and the Bucs lose, they'll have the same record, and of course they have the tiebreaker because they beat the Bucs straight up twice.
This is every once in a while we need Steve Kornacki.
Yeah.
Although actually we don't because you just broke that down pretty well.
I appreciate it.
2nd and goal. From the 8, Jaden Daniels barking out some calls here. 2 receivers to the right.
Yep.
Oh, he's changing the play. He's putting on
got
the belt.
Something with the belt.
Some WWE move right here going on. Snap, back to pass, looking left, scanning.
Uh-oh.
He's going to pull it down. He's going to run it. He's going to run. He's got the speed. He's stiff arm.
Oh, my gosh.
He got hit in the back.
That was a good run. I honestly thought he should have kept running. He tried to cut it up in there. I think he could have beat Terrell to the corner maybe, but we're going to have 3rd and goal from the 3.
So I'm glad for the Washington Commanders and their fans that he did not fumble there because it looked like he got a shot in the back there.
Good run here. Should he have kept running there?
Yes, kept going straight there.
I don't know why he's tried to undercut him there. I think it looked like he could have maybe outran him here, but nonetheless, he did what he did.
Now you got a 3rd and goal from the 3. Now this is very interesting, right? So if you don't
they're going to call a timeout because he's dead. He's out of air. They're going to call a timeout, get the right play, let him rest a little bit. All right, so good. We can finish up.
So this is all right. We got 2 Christmas games. We got the Netflix games.
Yeah.
And the NFL rewarded them with 2 blowouts. So they go, it's like, hey, welcome to the NFL here. Sometimes they just don't pan out. We'll start with the Chiefs defeating the Steelers 29-10. A good performance from the Chiefs here. Disappointing, I would say, from the Steelers in this one.
Well, I think you got to start with the first thing you said. I mean, that was the best game of the year by the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs on the offensive side of the ball, that was the best game of the year by Mahomes, all the cast of characters, a receiver, tight end, whatever. I mean, that was phenomenal, right? And then you add that on to, the defense, the way they played. I certainly know Pittsburgh had a few chances to make it interesting. They had a tip pass that they could have intercepted, and there was a few other plays. I get that. But, damn, this is my thing right here with Kansas City. 15-1. Okay, you just played on Christmas Day on Wednesday. And now you're not going to play Week 18? So you're going to go 3.5 weeks without playing meaningful football? I can just tell you, that is the recipe for being upset at home in the divisional round. I don't like that. I understand resting certain guys, okay, in those moments. You want to rest certain guys for this last game? Mahomes, keep him out. Nick Bolton, Chris Jones, sure. I get that. But to rest everybody, I think you're really rolling the dice, and that's scary there. Kansas City looked awesome. They looked awesome. I wouldn't want to relinquish that momentum that they had right there.
Dun, 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 dun. Great analysis. I don't know if you had analysis awareness right there because the game is over.
It is over, I think. Did he catch it for sure? I think he did. But Jaden Daniels, again, another just dot, like slant route over the middle, puts it in a spot where only Ertz can get it. Ertz get it. It's a touchdown. It's game over. The Commanders are in the playoffs.
Wow.
The Rams are in the playoffs. And now in the NFC, the only thing that's left to be had is the NFC South champion, which will come down to next week, whether Tampa wins or loses. Tampa wins, they're in, right? That's it.
Correct.
That's all there is.
And who
to
do
it.
they play? And Tampa plays. I was just looking at that. Hold on, we got this.
I'm gonna beat you.
Nope, I can do this.
They play the Saints.
They play the Saints.
I won
at home.
Saints. You guys look for 10 seconds. I still won.
That's a win. All right, so let's break this one down. So Washington gets the win. A playoff team for Washington.
Yeah.
Dangerous team.
Dangerous team, no doubt. I mean, hey, defense plays hard. I'm not enamored with Washington's defense, but they do some creative things. They know how to creatively blitz, some coverages here and there. The story of them is their offense. And oddly enough, a little bit like we've said this about the Dolphins. They're a ball control passing football team. Does that make sense? I mean, look at some of the drives on here. Read the drive chart tonight and tell me the plays and just say the plays and yards when they scored. Just say it for everybody.
So in the second half, let's just do the second half.
Yeah, sure.
Here. First possession of the second half, 15 plays.
Right. 69 yards.
69 yards. Yeah, 69 yards and a touchdown.
Next one.
Next drive, 14 plays, 70 yards and a touchdown.
Exactly right.
Next drive, 10 plays, 52 yards and a field goal.
Exactly right.
They have a 3 and out.
Right.
And then this one in overtime, 12 plays, 70 yards and a touchdown.
It's rare that you see a quarterback be able to sustain these long surgical drives over and over and over. And that's where, especially a rookie quarterback, I mean, it's hard to do that. You hear me say that all the time. It's one of my complaints about Kirk Cousins and the Falcons is like, is every drive got to be 14 plays, 55 yards?
Yeah.
Can they ever take a little pressure off of it? But this guy can do it with surgicality, with the mind and the throwing and the accuracy and all that. But then when none of that's there, he goes, woo, I'm fast. I just told Chris Sims I'm faster than Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors, so I'm going to run around the edge. And then the ends up with 16 rushes for 127 yards on top of that. So they totally controlled the second half of the football game. They let Atlanta go on that last drive there to tie it up. But, it was kind of the tale of two halves. It kind of felt like Washington was controlling the game early, and Jaden Daniels threw the interception when they were going down to score, where it felt like they were about to go up 14-7, right? They had the little zone blitz down there inside the 15-yard line.
Yep.
They intercepted it, and it felt like from that point on, Atlanta controlled the rest of the first half.
They couldn't stop Bijan
They couldn't
Robinson.
stop Bijan Robinson. Right. Penix had a few throws here and there, and then the third quarter came, and Washington basically took control of the football game, and like I said, only let that one drive there that let the Falcons tie it up. But then they answer right back. 41 minutes of ball control over the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons had the ball for 25 minutes. The Washington Commanders had it for 41. The efficiency of him, the amazement of him, everything. I can't say enough about the guy. He's one of the coolest, smoothest, nonchalant customers I've ever seen in my life.
And you talked to him this week.
And that's what he is.
127 yards on the ground for Jaden Daniels, 227, 3 touchdowns through the air. Rookie of the year?
Yes, not
Slam
even
dunk. Right? In a year where there's been a lot of great rookie performances.
It's just like the MVP thing. Again, it's where it's like if it's another year and he's not here, Brock Bowers is the MVP.
Right.
Oh, wait, if Brock Bowers and Jaden Daniels are here, Bo Nix is the MVP.
Lad McConkey, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors.
Exactly
like,
right.
really.
It's really a group that's very, very impressive. 100%. But
Bucky Irving.
This is insane. This is insane what he's done. And clearly the NFL Rookie of the Year this year, Jaden Daniels, give him the hardware.
All right, one more game to talk about that has already happened. That was on Christmas. The Ravens in the Beyonce Bowl beat the Texans 31-2.
Yeah, ass whooping. Ass whooping. Well, the game was over when the Texans got the safety, right, to make it 10-2.
The Ravens got the safety.
No, the Texans got a safety to go 10-2, right?
Yes.
Then the Texans drove all the way down the football field, and I believe that's where he threw the interception, right? Is that where he threw the interception? And they came away with no points. I'm trying to remember.
This is what happens when you play a game on Wednesday.
Well,
it's
just
really
is.
hard
This is what happens, but I'm going to get to it and exactly what had happened. Yeah, they went for it on 4th and 4, and they didn't get it on 4th and 4 from the 4-yard line. So there they were, 10-2, all the momentum. They try to score the touchdown. Nothing happens. And guess what happens right after that? 6 plays, 99 yards, zing, zong, zoom, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, boom, 17-2. See you later. Houston, your offense sucks. You can't do anything, and your defense is getting exposed. And here's my problem with Houston, and I said this to Florio on the day after Christmas. This is just a bad matchup for them. Houston's a small football team. They're small on defense. And I'm not even lying to you. When the game started, I was like, I think the Ravens D linemen can eat the Texans, literally eat them. It looks like they're that much bigger than them. There was such a size difference. They had no chance. Some of the holes Derrick Henry ran through to start the football game, you could have got 5 yards. He got 20, but you would have got 5.
Definitely.
Right. So that was an ass whooping. The Ravens they're peaking at the right time. There's no doubt about that. Their defense does seem like they've fixed it to a degree where they're not just a free fall and do whatever you want, right? The pass defense has gotten better. They could play run defense. So from that standpoint there, the Ravens are hot on fire. Definitely one of the best teams in football. And, man, the AFC, it's kind of why I want Joe Burrow to get in, because there's clearly a top 4 quarterbacks in football. They're in a different level than everybody else as far as Burrow, Allen, Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson, and I would love to see them all in the playoffs together. And then, of course, you throw that in there with Justin Herbert and Russell Wilson, and that ain't a bad, and C.J. Stroud. Those aren't bad, 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks in that conversation.
Of the teams who have clinched the playoff spot right now, who is the least dangerous of those teams, Houston or the Rams?
Ooh. Houston. Yeah, Houston to me is – they might be able to win a defensive struggle type of game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That would be the perfect matchup for them to maybe win a game. but I don't think I would pick them as we sit here right now. What has Houston done here as of late to give you them any confidence or anything to think that they can win a must-have-it game? No. I certainly can't back
Injuries
them right now.
Injuries have hurt them on offense.
Yeah, there's been a lot of issues. I'm not trying to blame. There's been a lot of things. They're just not playing good football. The pass protection, the O-line, all of that stuff has been an issue. It's filtered over to C.J. Stroud, and they're playing with zero confidence. I don't think they really believe in themselves either. They have the feel of one and done.
One more game to go. Monday Night Football. Rematch of the NFC Championship game last year. 49ers not going to the playoffs.
No, they're not.
Lions are. This game really means nothing for them at this point because it all comes down to whoever wins that Week 18 game, which we do now know for sure is on NBC. Have fun in Detroit. The Lions are a 3.5-point favorite, or they were, coming into this one. You predicted a 10-point victory by the Lions. Before we get to that, I'm going to tell you what Dan Campbell said this week, because now at this point, this game means nothing.
No, it doesn't matter if they lose. It's all about next week.
It means nothing at all. So Dan Campbell said this last week, quote, "I'll make this easy for everyone. That way all the critics can jump out and start attacking, but that way you don't have to debate them anymore. We're bringing everything we got to this game, and we are playing. I don't care what it looks like and where it's at or who this or who that. We're going to play to win this game out on the West Coast, so there you go."
That's what they are. That's who he is.
Yeah.
And in the way he's thinking it is he's going, we're going to win this one, and then we're going to win next one, and we're going to have a home field, and we're going to have the bye, and we'll be fine. And we'll rest then. But he doesn't know any different there. I mean, that's just who he is. He's go forward. And this is, again, it is the time of the year where, man, it can work against you taking your foot off the gas pedal and think, oh, we'll reaccelerate next week. When I step on it again, all 8 cylinders and everything we'll be fine, right? It'll be no problem. And that's scary. And he doesn't want to do that this time of the year. More times than not, right? Other than last year, which is the only time in the history of my life I've seen that, okay? Most teams that go on to win the Super Bowl are playing their best football at the end of December. All right? The Kansas City Chiefs are the only team that I've ever seen debunk that in my life. And I told you how shocked I was by it last year, and it's still amazing to me.
But at least for them, they kept playing each and every week.
They kept playing.
They had to go
exactly
on the road
right.
there.
So they worked on the kinks, and they kept it going. And all of a sudden, they kind of looked good in the wild card game. Got a little mojo game. Oh, shit. They looked really good against the Bills. They dominated them. And then it was like, oh, they're going to the Ravens hot. So that's where he doesn't want to lose that. And with their injuries, and I think he knows the offense has to click on all cylinders too, that's another reason I think you maybe be a little reluctant to knock them out of that rhythm. The same thing I'm arguing with the Chiefs. You just had your best offensive game, and now you're not going to play for 3 weeks? Like, you might look like shit again or kind of average in the divisional game. So this is what I expected from Dan Campbell.
Yeah, and so you're sticking by your
I totally
10-point win by the Detroit
the
Lions.
49ers feel like they are done, and they have made off-season plans. It's like it's been a long few years for them.
You've got them with Kyle.
We're going. We're out of here. I'm skipping the wild card week, guys. I'm going with Kyle. We're going to the Caribbean. See ya. I wish, but no, that won't be happening.
Yeah, and I do think that if the Lions get up big early, I do think maybe he will take some of his guys out a little earlier than he would have normally, but we'll see.
Okay,
we'll see
hold on. We got a question.
So we got a couple questions.
Yes.
Which one you want to
Jacina
attack?
Andrew. I didn't say that. I corrected myself.
So Jacina Andrew said, you just said on national television that the Lions don't pass protect well. The Lions have given up the least amount of sacks in the whole NFL and ranked number 1 in offensive line in the league.
Jacina Andrew, listen to what I said. Go back on DVR, and I went... I corrected myself, and the Lions don't rush the passer that well.
Oh, yes.
And the Vikings are really good at protecting, and that was scary for the Lions on defense, who like to play man-to-man. But now you got to cover these guys in Minnesota are very good. And if you only rush 4, like Sam Darnold's going to have time to throw. That's what I said. I did bumble it at first and said the Lions don't protect well or whatever, but then I went, excuse me. I guess you did. Come on, Justina. Right, but I corrected that. I know if you've been listening to me, the Lions have one of the best offensive lines in football. I've never taken a shot at them all year as far as that. What's another one?
Cervantes 15 Sims, I love you, Poppy, but I saw you and Devin talking about the Flores defense and how it can pose problems for Detroit. Are we ignoring that Jared and the boys put 30+ on them at their house? Ford Field going to be rocking next week.
I know. This This is what's tough about Football Night in America halftime shows, okay? We don't have enough time to unpack it. They tell us we can only talk about this and we only got a few seconds.
Yeah.
So I couldn't give you the other side
Matt.
of the story.
Yeah, come on, Matt.
No, but so I'm not ignoring anything. You know that I think the world of Detroit's offense and Ben Johnson. I mean, I think the world of it. I really do. I get that. All I'm saying is that Minnesota's defense is scary, and if Minnesota gets a lead, they become scarier. That was all we were trying to say there. Yeah. All right?
You go all year with Minnesota fans being like, come on, man, give us some respect. For one segment at halftime, you give them some respect, and here come my Lions fans.
This is where it all falls apart. No, listen, I expect our game on Sunday Night Football next week between the Lions and Vikings. I would be shocked if it's not at least high 20s, right? If it goes in the 30s, of course, I'm not shocked there either. Because these are offenses where you could play really good defense, and they're still going to score 28 points. They're just too good. There's too many things they can do to beat you and score and move the ball. So, no, I'm pumped for it and certainly have all the respect in the world, Jacina and Carl Cervantes 15 for the Detroit Lions.
This game should not mean this
These
much.
your friends?
I am mad. They are my friends.
Yeah.
They are now. This game should not. I'm so mad this game means this much. You know, the Lions have had such a great year with all these wins and the win streak. I think it was like, 10, 11 games in a row.
You sound like
and
a scared
all
fan.
Comes back. I am actually very scared. DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. New customers can bet $5. Get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins.
Download the app and use promo code UNBUTTONED when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
So we did the headlines earlier. Now, hot off the presses, we've got the schedule for Week 18. You want to take a look at the schedule?
Let's
Have
check
you
it
seen
out.
it yet?
I saw it a little bit on the end of our Sunday Night Football coverage here a little bit.
So there it is. So Saturday we got Browns-Ravens, game that doesn't mean anything. But the Bengals-Steelers potentially does, right? If the Bengals win, they keep their hopes alive.
Well, the thing on Saturday, that means something, and winning the AFC North does matter for the Steelers and the Ravens too. So there is something there, right?
You're right.
And then you could, if the Ravens lose and the Steelers win, the Ravens go from, we won the division and we're the 3 seed to now we're on the road and maybe going to Houston or somewhere else on the playoff game. Mm-hmm. So that's where there is meaning in that. And, of course, like you said, the Bengals got to win.
Sunday, 1 o'clock games, a couple games that mean something there. You got the Falcons taking on the Panthers and the Buccaneers taking on the Saints. That Falcons game won't matter if the Buccaneers take care of business against New Orleans.
But they won't know because they're going on at the same time. So that's why they scheduled it that way.
That works out well. All right. So the remaining games look like –
that was the one –
Hold on, we're going to come back.
With the 4 o'clock games.
We're coming back. Don't worry about it. Don't freak out.
The bottom line is none of them really mean jack shit except for our game.
No, Broncos. So Broncos, if they win that game, they're in.
Right.
And then you've got
Chargers Raiders means nothing.
Yep.
If
correct.
the Bengals want to be in, they got to hope the Dolphins lose to the Jets. Right. So that's the Dolphins Jets. That's 425.
That could mean something, but we'll have to see.
49ers and Cardinals mean nothing. Seahawks and Rams mean nothing.
Now means nothing in that one too. Yep. And so, and then maybe seeding, a little seeding,
seeding.
Here and there, and some opponents. And then not pictured is our game, which is the Lions hosting the Minnesota Vikings.
That's right. That's right. So we'll figure it out. Ahmed, we might have to fly Ahmed to Detroit to do the pod after the game. We'll just do it at midfield. Wouldn't that be cool? Just you and me, pod, middle of the midfield.
Hey, let's do. Why not? I think I'm
or I'm going to Zoom you or something, and I'll be at midfield, and you'll be like, "What? I can't hear you." I'm like, "Well, I'm at midfield. It's hard. Sorry."
Oh, look at that! The NFL's already got the graphic.
That's going to be good.
Battle for the North. You got
battle for the North.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, 8:20 on NBC and Peacock. Final tweet here from Bar Geddes.
Yeah.
Says, damn, okay, welcome back, Ahmed. My wife and I have been waiting to hear your voice back on the pod.
Yep.
Well, Bar, here you go.
Here you go.
I'm back.
There he is. Mr. Smooth Voice himself is back. We appreciate it. You the man. We missed you.
Good to be back. I missed you too.
This felt good for me.
It felt good. Yes.
I got to just talk about football. Between reading the rundown and going to commercials, I feel like, man, that was hard for me the last few weeks. Trying to tell my football thoughts.
Tell Devin to host.
I know, a little bit. I got to get him to do something around here. Jeez, he just doesn't work enough.
Yeah.
But no, we appreciate Devin and his filling in. He was awesome. He really was. He was awesome. I enjoy working with Devin. He's my buddy. He really is. All right, everybody. You know where to find us. Wednesday, Pick 6 podcast. We'll do what we do. Actually, no, we won't because it's New Year's Day.
Yeah.
I'll be watching college football. So, and hopefully you will too. So we'll figure that out. Thursday, I will be back with my picks pod with Florio and doing all that. And then next Sunday, we'll keep you updated. We're going to do the pod. We just don't know what we're going to do. I mean, I might pack up Ahmed in my carry-on luggage. We might just get him out there in general. We might Zoom. We'll figure it all out. But everybody enjoy the week. Happy New Year to everybody out there. Stay safe. Be smart. Enjoy the college football playoffs. And remember, there's only one team that matters on Wednesday. The Longhorns, baby. That's right. Peace out, homies. Clap it up.
Clap it up.
Yo, homies. Thanks for watching. Yeah, it's time. The NFL season is here on Chris Sims Unbuttoned.
You can hit subscribe to get all the weekly picks, plus our Sunday recaps as the games are happening.
Oh, you know it. Nobody does that better than us. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Unbuttoned.